Hello again, and welcome to the latest bulletin from Haverhill UK News, brought to you by Haverhill TV. In the news for today, Tuesday, July the 16th, police warn people not to leave car or house windows open in the hot weather after an opportunist theft right outside the police station. Haverhill's historic vehicle rally on Sunday attracted nearly 2,000 people, and an area of the town centre where the public required police to take action against parked vehicles turns out to have no parking regulations at all. Hot weather brings the danger of theft and burglary, police have warned, after a woman delivery driver had £150 in cash and her Apple iPhone stolen right outside the police station. She had parked her van in Merton Slade to make a delivery, leaving a window slightly open, around 12:50 p.m. on Friday. When she came back, her yellow designer handbag with heart-shaped handles had gone, containing the cash and the iPhone. Nevertheless, the latest crime figures show you are becoming more likely to be a victim in surrounding villages than in the town itself. Total crimes in Haverhill since April the 1st are down around 12% on the 3-year average, 478 as against 549. Meanwhile, in the surrounding rural area of Suffolk alone, the figure is up by around 30% at 158 as against a 3-year average of 113. This is mostly theft and burglary, where there have been 103 crimes compared with an average of 64. Antisocial behaviour in Haverhill is massively down, with 347 reports compared with an average of 481. On Sunday, over 150 vintage and classic vehicles descended on sunny Haverhill for the annual Historic Transport Rally and Road Run. This event, organised by Haverhill Town Council in partnership with the Historic Commercial Vehicles Society, was a huge success, attracting almost 2,000 people. The show featured a mixture of commercial and military vehicles, motorcycles and domestic cars of all ages. Over 40 of these took part in a road run around Haverhill and the surrounding villages. As well as free entry, hundreds of visitors were treated to tours of the town on vintage buses. Town Mayor, Councillor Roger Andre, opened the event and awarded prizes for the various categories of vehicles on display. He said it was a fabulous example of how an enjoyable day out can also educate and inform. He had a wonderful time and he particularly enjoyed the bus tour. The show was mostly in the Town Hall car park, but activities extended inside the Arts Centre where free cinema screenings celebrated transportation history. Over £700 worth of tools were stolen from a garage in Rutland Court overnight on Tuesday to Wednesday last week. Thieves broke in via the garage door and stole a Makita canvas bag containing a jigsaw, circular saw and an impact driver drill, worth in total £759, as well as a child's blue quad bike worth £50. And now for some more of your comments in our regular feature, Sound Off. This week's subjects have included the proposed youth hub, the upcoming Haverhill show, and Haverhill's relationship with St Edmundsbury. TB, Councillor Tony Brown, says, being part of St Edmundsbury has never been a positive thing for Haverhill. The main problem being that all the power is based in Bury. They do not understand Haverhill. They can outvote our local politicians and basically treat us as their unwashed little brother. They know best and we just have to put up with it. I always suspected this before I got involved in local politics. Now that I am involved, it's plain for me to see at every level. The worst thing about it is a lot of our local leaders have just got worn down and just accept it and carry on doing our Bury Masters' bidding with just a shrug of the shoulders. We have become institutionalised. For now, he says. JXB agrees. The vast majority of those representatives you never hear about except once every 4 years, and often not even then, but still people vote for them. A lot that remain, with a few notable exceptions, have no interest in representing their voters except as a means of earning money from the job. I would much rather our town council representatives were able to earn something out of it, rather than paying for most of the borough or Suffolk County Council's so-called representatives. At least they have our interests in mind. Aaron thinks the youth hub is a waste of money. I still doubt the youth they want to attract would go anywhere near the place when you tell them they can offer advice on different issues. They've been at school all day with advice being thrown at them, and they're hardly going to want to spend their evening getting more advice when they can be out having fun. This means they'll be hanging around street corners still. If the centre had no adult interference, then the youth would more likely go along to it. What's the point of spending this money if the youth don't want it? Sit down with the youth and ask them if they want a youth hub that offers advice. If they say no, then ask them what they do want. But DeAndre disagrees, saying, I worked briefly for Haverhill Schools Initiative, which was involved in running monthly youth nights at the Methodist Church. This attracted over 120 young people. They had to limit it to 120 due to the capacity. It was all run by volunteer adults. Unfortunately, it had to stop due to lack of funding and volunteers. It could easily have been run weekly. The evening consisted of fun activities as well as spaces to chat and relax and get advice from adults. This isn't just a whim, it's been well researched and to provide for a great need in the town. Haverhill has its fair share of NEETs, and this needs addressing. There are many, many young people who would appreciate the advice and support that will be offered. JXB is a bit doubtful though, saying, I was heavily involved in the Haverhill Youth Initiative, which died a death in 6 months due to total lack of interest by any youth, despite it being designed by youngsters for the youngsters and just funded by Haverhill. I hope this one does not fail, but as most youngsters today seem to rebel against all things authoritative, I think it will be difficult to make it succeed. It will really need a very special leader to make it work. TB has a word to say on the Haverhill show issue. I think the problem may be that there are too many various organisations involved in running the town. They all try to do good things, but invariably end up working against each other more by accident than design. If you ask the average person in Haverhill High Street today who's the mayor, name 3 councillors, then ask them which level of local government is responsible for the different services in town, I think you'd be shocked. The same way that we had the demise of the railway just at the time it would have come into its own with the influx of newcomers to Haverhill, we did the same for Haverhill Urban District Council. Got rid of it, merged with Bury, just at the time it could have started to make a real difference, with most things decided in the town by local people that cared about the place, i.e. planning. Most of the planning committee that decide on Haverhill issues are from outside the town, and even if our people did make a stand on something, they could get outvoted. And this is a microcosm of why Haverhill has always struggled to get things done. We have good people, but we have never really had the right mechanisms in place to get the things done that should have been done. For 40 years we've been practically rudderless, with everyone's oar in the water, trying individually to do the right thing. So keep those comments coming by going to www.haverhill-uk.co.uk and clicking into the local issues message board. And finally, last month residents voted at a public meeting for the police to take action against people parking in the paved lane which leads from Queen Street to Tesco. But it turns out there are no parking regulations in place on the lane at all. Police clamped down on illegal parking in Merton's Slade access road to the lane and issued warning notices, but established from Suffolk County Council that no restrictions covered the lane at all. It was one of 3 priorities selected by the public at the June Safer Neighbourhood Team Public Forum. Haverhill's Police Chief, Inspector Peter Ferry, said they would now be looking at a 4th issue raised at the meeting, which narrowly missed out in the voting: antisocial behaviour resulting from people drinking alcohol on the recreation ground, which is part of the town centre alcohol-free zone. That's all for today, but join us again on Friday. Meantime, keep in touch by going to www.haverhill-uk.co.uk or following us on Twitter.